God, it's one meeting after the other. Jesus. So let's see, is guest on? I think it's on. All right, I think Jared from Pocket was gonna come over. Oh, shoot, I don't actually have you. Cindy on person. Hold on. Oh, I can't invite someone if they're not my friend. Is that it? All right. Let's see. All right, let's see if Jared's going to come over. We can continue our conversation here instead of there. Hey, I want to make all this stuff public anyway, right? What's up, guys? Hey, the bearded vet, how's it going? What is going on? Figured I would answer some questions if anyone has them, and I think Jared from Pocket might join me. We'll see. Thoughts on SafeMoon because since it's been a year, I think that actually they're going to do some great work. Um, I, I think people overlooking them are kind of foolish, to be honest. How are you liking BSE? I actually really like BSE, which is weird. And I think part of it has to do with the fact that it's such a chaotic environment, and I thrive in chaos. And in fact, it's really not like thrive in chaos. It's like the my kind of neurodivergent brain looks at chaos and says, "Ooh, I need to add structure here." You heard of RBTC? No, I've not. RBTC. Let's see if Jared might join us. We'll see. From Pocket, I don't know if he's gonna hop up. I was hoping he would, so we can kind of continue our conversation. I was going to answer questions if I can um, about Testudo. It depends on. Wait, they got Papa kicked out of SafeMoon? Interesting. I wouldn't mind learning more about that if you've got like a. I mean, normally when it's like just Discord stuff, there's no news or something I can read, but I'd love to know the story behind that. I'm a history guy, so like let's see. Oh, yeah, sorry. Hey, non-fungible cats. Is Jared in here yet? No? So I figured I would. Oh, there you are. I need to follow you. That's the problem. Can you go live, Jared, or not now? If Jared wants to go live, we'll continue our conversation from before. If not, I can take questions as to what we're doing with Testudo. Upstairs, wife watching TV. I get it. It's cool, man. Um, I can take questions about Testudo. If there's anything kind of secret saucy, I will try to avoid that probably. Um, but if it's something I feel comfortable with, I mean, let's be honest, I'm just going to end up spilling the beans anyway because we're on live and I am terrible, absolutely terrible with secrets. Um, but yeah, I guess I can go over a little bit of an overview as to what we're doing because I find it very exciting. And then we'll see if anyone has any questions. So uh, I'm a story guy. I'm a history guy, so I like you have to understand where you've been in order to understand how you've gotten here, kind of thing. So I'm going to take you guys on a pivot journey. Um, so I was involved in a project called Meta Santa around Christmas time, and they actually merged with Pocket. And when that occurred, one of the guys that was in Meta Santa had reached out to me asking if I wanted to start a call group. Now, for those of you that know about call groups, that is pretty much the least thing that I wanted to do because I thought of them as scummy as shit, to say the least. And so what we did, so I said yes. I said, yeah, sure. But we wanted to do it in such a way where we could essentially do two things at the same time, which was highlight their shitty behavior so that it becomes blatantly obvious for everyone, um, and essentially fix the problem at the same time. And so we've been working on a structure to do that. I had an original token design actually for this that would help give projects stability upon launch. We will be doing that later on down the line. Um, Curious what's a call group. So if you really want to understand what a call group is, oh, buckle up. So I'm going to tell you. Essentially, a call group is a group of people on, uh, most of the time it's on Telegram or some shit. And honestly, normally it's one figurehead who's charismatic, and that's it. They typically understand very little actually about what's happening around them, but they are charismatic and they have a large following. And a lot of the times they get that large following by simply doing what I call chicken feeding. They throw out chicken scratch. They get paid in BNB typically from projects to call the project, and this is basically just them promoting it. So it's marketing. It's a marketing firm. You could think of it as. I mean, that's we consider ourselves a marketing firm, not a call group, um, because we are going to do way more than just what these guys do. But most of them, they basically just hold calls with the project, with their audience, and they throw out like $50 here and there to try to get more people to join. And the more numbers they have, the more they can charge these groups. But the real shitty fuck you behavior is that these guys pretty much take B&B from projects. They then turn around and buy those projects, and then they make the call, and then they take profit. So where does that profit come from? It comes from their own audience. These guys are literally stealing from their own audience and they are being praised for it. They are being idolized in this space. It's sick. Um, so Pretty much all of our marketing messaging is going to call a lot of them out by name, actually. Um, but what we've done is we've essentially said, look, what if we took the B&B that's paid from the project and actually gave our community a way of essentially benefiting from the calls that we're doing? So the idea is that it's really a marketing firm, and the long-term vision is actually to be more of a investment platform that operates more like a dating site. And so the idea is that you're actually classifying the projects that exist that you're working with, and the trading behavior of the individuals, so that you can determine who would be good fits for projects based on their life cycle and where they're at. And then you do a layered investment strategy to help bring stability to the chart, by essentially connecting projects with investors first, and then traders after the fact. Um, and so that gives these projects the stability that they need, where one of the biggest problems in this space that I've seen is that they don't do that. People have lumped in the traders and the investors into one large group, and then they just treat them all the same. And when you do that, what it does is it allows your traders to suck out exponentially more value from the project, than if you had layered the strategy. So what ends up happening is these guys basically aren't interested in the project at all. They pull all the value out of the project, and then the thing dies right upon launch. And so we want to help people, uh, give them tooling, give the projects tooling enough that they can actually have a fighting chance, so that we see fewer projects, we see because we see fewer projects die, because right now what the projects are doing, is that they are essentially taking a shotgun approach out of pure necessity, because they aren't layering their investment strategy, because they aren't actually looking at trying to launch in a strategic fashion. What's happening is that so many of these projects just get sent out to die, that the people running the projects have recognized that really the only way for them to survive in this space is to launch as many projects as they possibly can, hoping that one hits. And then as soon as one hits, they switch all their focus to that project. And I don't blame the guys running the projects for that, actually. That's the environment that they're in. It's really kind of their best option. And so we want to give them a better option. And so we will be bringing out tooling and services to actually help these projects have successful launches, that aren't just basically propped up with nothing. Um, and one of the things we'll be doing as part of that is we are taking 50% of our revenue, and actually it's going to probably be more than that, but it's going to go to different things. But what we'll be doing is taking at least 50% of our revenue, straight off the top, and using it as an asset-backed holding for our token. And this gives our token a stable price, and a stable price that, essentially will raise over time as the business does better. So the more business the marketing firm does, the more the token is backed, and the higher the floor price actually goes over time. So it also gives our community and our holders, an incentive for us to be successful. So the more successful we are, the more successful everyone is. And that's also kind of a key aspect of that design. And then what we do is we give essentially two mechanisms of getting value out, and actually there'll be a third in the future. But at the beginning, there's two mechanisms of getting value out of the project. You can buy and sell on the open market like you always would, but there's that asset floor price that still exists. And so if you want to get at that asset floor price, essentially anyone will be able to take their tokens and simply just send them to the burn wallet. And by sending them to the burn wallet, we've modified the burn function so that we then do a review of how much what the asset valuation of those tokens is, and then we send you the equivalent BNB out of the asset wallet. And not always out of the asset wallet, but you will get the equivalent BNB. There's a little trick there that we have as well that gives an incentive for people that don't take advantage of the arbitrage opportunity and hold through it. They'll actually get an increased share in both past and future revenue. So you can think of the token as actually a right to past and future revenue. And the past revenue props up the asset floor, and the future revenue is what the trading volume value is. So it's really kind of cool in that way. And then what we're going to try to do over time is give users new and interesting ways to get at the past value so that they can essentially get value, get liquid really quick if they need it. And one of the reasons that I want to do this is because I think that if we can stabilize the token and really that designed to become stable, so it's really part of what it's all about. What we will give to our community is essentially an asset that they can get into early on, and they then have access to quick capital when they need it. So I want to give people something that is something that you can put $20 into, and a few years down the line, you can get at quick capital if you need it. Interest free, no charges, no fees. We're not in here to basically nickel and dime you for bullshit. It's your equity, man. You should be able to get at it. And so you can kind of think of it almost like this is your 401k, and you can dip into your 401k if you need in an emergency. The same way you would dip into your 401k and you're borrowing from yourself and you pay it back. The difference is that when they do that to a 401k and it's your money and all that bullshit, they still charge you. And so we're not going to. And I really want to bury the payday loan industry with this. That is a goal of mine, because I want people that are living paycheck to paycheck to see this as something that they can essentially throw a tiny amount of money into over time, watch it grow, and then get to the point where it's like, look, if I need $1,000 for an emergency, I've got it. My car broke down, I've got it. And they're not even questioning, where do I get the money from? Well, how am I going to do this? Or like, even if you're in the crypto space today, you got some emergency, what asset am I going to liquidate? Because what we do is say, no, no, we want you to be able to still hold that asset. We don't want you to give up on that future potential. We want that future potential to still be there for you. So if what you want is to not have to liquidate your asset, to not have to get rid of something or feel like you're losing out, but you need something now, we're going to say, look, just take what you need now, pay it back when you have the time, and you still get to have that asset. And I think that is a wonderfully better way of treating people than the systems that we have in place today. And what we're really trying to do with Testudo in general, and Jared's here in the chat, if everything works out the way that I want it to, also with Pocket, um, is creating an ecosystem for services for our people, to help automate their lives in ways that take worry, stress, and fear away. I mean, my name being War on FUD is not a joke, guys. I am here specifically because I feel like people are living in fear. It is their state of being, and I want to put a stop to that. I mean, it's not. Sorry, it's it's not a good way to live, and it saddens me and it sickens me that we have. I mean, we have ample tooling. I don't think people really understand the stuff that's available to us to fix these problems for people is already there. It exists, and people are choosing not to do it. They're choosing not to go after these things. And that's causing people to have to suffer. And I cannot go on basically allowing that to occur. So Um, my long-term vision, honestly, is to create an ecosystem that where if anyone wants to get involved, if you want to help, if you want to do something, we will find a place for you. And my thing, my bread and butter, my what we will focus on at Testudo is financial services and things to utilities for the masses. That's what I am all about. It's I want to create global free utilities that people can use, and we will tackle everything in that space. And I want Pocket to basically be the same thing for gaming environments. You want your gaming, it's there. And we will try to build systems that are as stable as fucking possible because we want to give this a fighting chance. We want to give people a fighting chance. Um, it's the worst trying to learn without it. We're so excited. Thank you, Matt. Um, yeah. So the idea. Sorry, I'm getting emotional because this is so exciting to me. Um, and I this is something that I don't know how to actually express to you guys what I'm feeling right now because I actually see this um, as becoming a reality. And the number of people I think that we will be able to positively affect their lives is massive. And I absolutely adore the fact that we are going to be using essentially what people see as the worst environment to do it. I mean, there's something poetic about it. I mean, I say what you will about Elon. I'm a fan, and part of the reason I think I'm a fan is because I think that we both enjoy the same kind of poetic irony. He enjoys the fact that Dogecoin really could become like a currency for a generation, and I really think that it could as well. And I think that's funny. I think that I don't think it's actually Doge. I think that he's actually not seeing far enough ahead, and that it's actually pretty much all of the meme coins. Um, because if you can stabilize, if you can figure out how to stabilize them, and I really think we have, um, you can create community funding pools where it's really just where I'm interested in, what I like, what I enjoy doing is a community. And I can put my value in the community that I like, and other people can do the same. And that allows me to have kind of, it almost allows you to go back to this kind of tribal mentality of like, I like this thing, everyone around me likes this thing, and we're all here because we like this thing. And I can put my value there, and everyone can benefit from it because we've pooled our resources and we can do so much more because of that. And it's really actually that's the future that I actually see as the potential here. And it is potential because we're going to have to fight to get it. But it's a real future and it's a real possibility. I should buy Temple. Why is that? Yeah, I don't. I probably not express things in this way. It's the the stuff that we're going to go after. I mean, I had someone ask last night in Testudo Views Telegram, essentially like, could you explain like this? Because I posted up to that video that I was just pissed off, and I just had to say, look, we can really change this. We can move forward. We can automate people's lives. And this kid kind of hopped in and said, like, can you explain to me like how you do that and how you? And I had been sitting on stuff for far too long that I haven't been willing to talk about, and I just kind of bleh, dumped it out there, and it was interesting. It was fun because it's like, look, I this is just the beginning. Um, I want to give people a stable asset that they can get quick liquidity from. And we're going to do it by actually giving up. We're going to do it by basically taking what I think is kind of one of the scummiest practices in the industry, which is marketing, and trying to do it right, trying to do it for success, trying to do it in a way that actually helps projects, helps investors, helps people. Um, and we're going to call everyone on their bullshit while we do it. Um, and I love that. But that's just one area. Once we're in, we're going to keep moving. So, engineer on TikTok, him and I have been talking for a long time. We already have a design for a token that basically would be able to. Um, it's a messaging protocol. It's a messaging protocol that anyone would be able to place an app on top of that would essentially be a social media app. And the messaging layer is really just that. It's just the communications layer behind it. In fact, you could have interoperability between applications because it all shares the same backend. It's just a backend mechanism. And we built in advertising and promotion in such a way where it would actually be a backend system that would pay the users for their involvement. Because I don't like what most people in the decentralized space for social media have been doing, which is pay to play. And nobody's going to go that. You're never going to be successful going that route. And I don't like what the centralized social media guys have done, which is essentially funnelize the profit all up and basically profiteering off of their user base. So and I think that their argument that they're not a publisher is just fucking silly. So I want to create a backend system and not be the publisher, specifically allow anyone else to become the publisher, because I want to prove to the masses that these guys are all lying to you. They're all trying to structure themselves in ways to basically hide what they're actually doing. And let's show them what it would really look like if they did the thing that they say they do. And by doing that, we bring to light that they're actually wrong. And at the same time, if we can formulate that in such a way that it actually pays the users for the work that they're doing, because that's really what they're doing, they're putting in all the work and you're profiting off of it. Amazing. I love the passion. Looking forward to what you have going on. I'd love to be a part of it down the road. Um, Join the Testudo Views Telegram. Send me a message if you want to be involved. Like literally anyone that wants to be involved. We have essentially we have a bunch of groups in the back end in the background where we're trying to basically funnel people in so that we can basically create an onboarding process so that everyone that wants to be involved, we can find a place for them. And then essentially on the outside of that, we have a parking lot of all of the ideas, all of the concepts that we want to go after, everything that we see as a niche that we could actually solve a problem in. We're gathering all of that. And so all of my ideas, all of my concepts, all of the token designs that I have that we want to build, I might not be the one to build it. That's fine. If a community member that comes in that's passionate about this, that wants to kind of have this out, our whole goal is to get as much of this stuff out to the masses as possible, as quickly as possible. So what we want to do is have that kind of incoming funneling process to where we can basically just say, look, you guys are coming in. If you want to work, if you want something to do, even if you have no knowledge about it and you want to learn, great. What do you like doing? What do you want to be involved in? We have people on board that are doing that stuff. Let's get you plugged in with them. Let's see what you can do. You've got an idea? Cool. Let's talk about it. Let's see if it's something we can play with. Let's see if it would work or how it would work. And yeah, we're going to scrutinize it through that. So let's go through all those design discussions. Let's figure out what we're doing. And so I don't even know what to call it. I've been calling it a bunch of stuff. Jared and I at Pocket were just discussing this because kind of even our concept of what we're doing together, I don't know what to call because what I told to him was I said, look, we can call it a joint venture for now because that maybe people will understand that. But the reality of the situation is that I personally think that we send labels to things that just don't exist. You talk about a company, companies take no actions. They cannot do anything by themselves. It's just a group of people that come together for a common goal. So if we have groups of people that come together for a common goal, are we now a company or are we something else? Are we something better? I want to get to the point where it's just people doing things for people. And I think that if we do that, if we set it up right, and if we do it correctly, it's going to be done in such a way where the people that are involved end up being able to support their families. End up being able to not worry about finances so much, and they end up being able to work on what they're passionate about. And that is so key for me because I'm sick of people thinking that everyone's lazy. I mean, I've been called lazy my entire life. I'm I have ADHD. I'm sorry, but if you don't understand, um, and you think it's just like, oh, you're just not doing stuff. No, I need to work on things that I'm passionate about. And when I do, fucking step aside because I will get more done than you ever will. But when I'm not passionate about it, you can fuck right off. I'm just gonna, I don't even want to be involved. Um, and I'm sorry that that's the way my mind works. But if that's the way my mind works, and that's the way literally millions of people's minds work, let's start finding things that they're passionate about so we can get some fucking work done. Let's stop putting them into uniforms or sending them off to fucking die because that's what we're doing in these stressful environments. Let's give them a reason to do good work because when you do, guess what? They do good work. The goal of DeFi should be exactly what it was founded upon. It's about providing people the opportunity to find financial freedom for themselves and for their family. Exactly. It's this entire system has so much potential, and that's why I get so upset. I get so just bothered by people treating this like a stock market, by people like literally just saying like, "Oh, that's where you gamble." Um, we're going to be doing stuff to even bring utility to shit coins. We're going to be, I mean, so the reason I love my design so much that we're going with this rising floor concept, and the reason we're getting it into Tokify is because I want people to be able to launch a token like this. So the token's design is in such a way that even if you didn't have the revenue backing, so the revenue backing that we have really helps. But even if you didn't have that, the rising floor concept can be done in such a way where you could launch a meme coin that has nothing to it, like people do all day, every day right now. The project could go off, it could trade, and everyone could be having fun with it, and they're pumping it and all this stuff, and then the project dies off, right? And what happens? The people that lasted the longest in your project, the people that held through, the ones that you want in your project, they're the ones that get fucked. In a rising floor token, a lot of those people will actually be able to get out more value than they put in after the project dies. Because you'd get what I would call a burn off, essentially, where no activity happens, there's no anticipation for future growth, nobody actually sees this going anywhere, and they all burn off their tokens, they take their funds, and they go. That sounds like a safer way of playing this game to me. And so what we're actually going to do is we're going to make it so that anyone, anywhere will be able to launch one of these tokens with a few pushes of a button. If you guys think things got weird after SafeMoon and everyone went to reflections tokens, I can almost guarantee you that this year is the year of rising floor tokens. And as soon as we launch this one, this will become the new standard for meme coins. And the reason why I know that is because this is the only design I've seen where if the project dies, the people that you wanted, the people that basically listened to you and supported you and were your diehards, they don't get screwed. This is different, man. This is new. This is going to be something really, really interesting. Been called lazy myself so many times just because I lack interest. Have you been tested for any sort of neurodivergency, ADHD mainly? Because that's probably has something to do with it, maybe. My own personal opinion is if you're wondering if you have ADHD, go watch Connor DeWolf. That's it. Just go watch Connor DeWolf. And if you just like literally, if you're just scrolling through going, fuck, oh, oh my God, how does this kid know me so much? Then yeah, you probably have ADHD. But yeah, I am so excited for this because I really think that we're going to take, I mean, I think we're going to take the worst environment in crypto and we're going to stabilize it. to the point where it's actually fun to be involved. And the fact that, and I mean, I love the fact that we're partnered with Tokify because essentially the system launches the contract. So it's basically pre-audited. The fact that someone launches a token through Tokify means that you know it's not a rug. I mean, it's that sort of stuff is cool to me. Uh, they're also adding stuff for one click migration, which I was like, whoa, hold up, we need to talk because there's features to our token that I don't think we'll be able to get in time uh, before launch. And though I would like to have it, I'm okay with launching without it. Um, and so I would love to be able to say, hey, next month we're going to do a migration. We're going to push a button, migration happens, everyone's moving over to new token, everyone's cool, and we have this new feature. Now we're going to heavily test that sort of stuff. But yeah, if anyone has any questions, I've been ignoring the chat, I know, because I've been going on some weird tangent. But if anyone has any questions, please, about Testudo, feel free to ask. I'm pretty much probably just going to say whatever. Oh, I feel good about getting stuff off my chest, I think, because I finally, you guys have to understand, I've been holding this in for a very long time. Um, this token concept is something that I've been sitting on for a little bit, but the idea behind the goal of what I wanted to do. Hey, how's it going, buddy? Um, am I still holding SafeMoon? Yeah, I'm still holding SafeMoon. The the goal of what Testudo is, I think, going to accomplish, and this whole concept of being able to have this stable token that people can get quick access to liquidity if they need without giving up the asset, is actually something that I had a different design for, um, that I'd been sitting on for, God, almost a year. That one, though, was the design was very complex to the point where I wasn't entirely convinced that I would actually be able to do it on any of the existing networks. I thought I might actually need my own blockchain for, um, and so that I had always put on kind of a side burner. And the reason for that is that it utilized an entirely unique transfer mechanism. Um, you're starting a company in horticulture. Is there a way for me to integrate this passion into this project? If you mean the concept, yeah, actually, that's the really kind of interesting aspect of this token design, and really the fact that it's revenue backed is that anyone with any revenue source could actually spin up a token like this, back it with that revenue source, and essentially allow people to get involved and share in both past and future revenue, which is what it's doing. And so I actually see this as a tool that companies that aren't in the crypto space could start using. So especially people starting new companies, or startups, I see this as a mechanism for startups to actually um, essentially give people a right, because what the token really represents is a right to both past and future revenue. And what we're doing is we're basically parking part of the past revenue into a wallet to back it. Um, and then the token basically is a representation of that past revenue right now. And because it's continuously inflowing, it's also a representation. The trading value that happens on top of the asset floor is basically a representation of future revenue. Um, and so I, as a holder or as a founder, will actually have a significantly large portion of or a significantly large wallet. All the founders together will have a significant portion of the token. So there's a lot of re-education that we'll have to do with people because they'll look at that in the natural, normal sense and say, "Oh my God, these people are sitting on a large wallet." Where the reality is, um, that's really our equity stake in the company because that's our share of past and future revenue. And so if we were to sell those tokens, which I have no intention of selling my tokens, holy shit, because once I get the ability to pull the liquidity out that I need, I I could if we were successful to the point where it just blew off and this is billions and billions of dollars, I I could basically just operate like Elon and all the other super wealthy, but just using my network by basically just hopping from one loan to the next, like they do, without ever having to sell my asset. In which case, uh, if that were to happen, my plan is actually to take the vast majority of my asset then, my asset holding, and once I've set some aside for essentially the friends and family that I think have helped me to get to this point, the remainder would actually go back to our community. I have no interest in it. So engineer and I talked at length about this for our other project, that we would set up automated caps. And this is something that I will probably do with this project eventually. And that's to make it so that my wallet is actually controlled by a contract. And essentially, if the value of my wallet gets too large, it automatically starts sending tokens out to the community. Um, that's kind of my plan is to basically make it. Guys, I'm not a Lambo guy. I don't even want a Lambo. The people that are all into that kind of wear a Lambo, win Lambo, or whatever, I think are just stupid. I think most supercars are stupid. They're waste, but they're fun to drive. Don't get me wrong. And I'd love to drive it, but owning one, I don't need to own that. It, if I can go to a track or something and drive one, that sounds cool. Um, Owning it sounds like a stupid show of my own ego. That's really all it is. They're status symbols. They have no real meaning or practical use. And if you understand me at all, I am entirely about practicality and efficiency. So, um, can you get an NFT crypto mining NFT project? Our project will have NFTs, but they're utility NFTs and they're not going to work like how anyone else looks at. Um, Sort of like an anti-whale system that from any society. So our project will actually have NFTs. Our NFTs will work very differently. We might have more NFTs, but the NFTs for Testudo Views in particular, when Lambo, God, I hate you, man. I love you. Don't worry. The So the idea behind our NFTs is that they represent a service that we provide. And so what we actually want to do is we're starting in Telegram and stuff, but we're actually building out our website because we will be migrating to that as a platform for investing. And what we want is each of the projects that we do business with will have a listing page and a listing site on our site that we want to be essentially Web3 controlled as a contract. And what will happen is they'll purchase the NFTs from us, and they will actually send them to the project, and that actually is what lists the NFT as an icon on the project on our site. So I'm huge on transparency, and so what that does is it allows. So in order to get the service, you have to send the NFT to the contract on our site. And so that allows our community to be aware of all of the services that this project has purchased from us and that we're providing to them. It also allows it's basically acts as the agreement between us and the project that we're going to provide that service for them. And then I have a concept that I've been working on that I call a testudo. So a testudo will actually be a product offering from us, and it essentially combines all of the services that we provide from essentially ideation of the idea of the token all the way through to ongoing management and help with the project. And so when someone purchases a Testudo, what they'll basically do is mint the Testudo, which actually issues out all of the NFT services that we provide. And the reason I want to do that is because let's say you have a project, you're interested in being involved in us at a Testudo level because the a Testudo in and of itself would be also another NFT. And when you have a Testudo on your project, we will treat you way differently. In fact, it's more of a partnership, and but in a really interesting way because we also in a lot of our reviews and stuff like that, we will be giving our opinion. So you could purchase a Testudo, and we could basically say, "There's nothing backing this project. Here's all of our advertising for this project." Because honesty and transparency is a big thing for us. Um, and so it, but a by purchasing a Testudo and getting all of those services, if your project's already launched, and we offer stuff like consulting services around your tokenomics and how that works, and trying to help you figure out ways to structure your token in such a way that you don't get as much of the negative behavior. You might not need that anymore, or it's just something that's just kind of too late for you, or like we will also be eventually a launch platform for you to launch your tokens. Um, so if that's a service that you just don't need, you'll be able to sell that NFT on the open market. So that's kind of part of the idea behind that. Your wallet cap thing is like an anti-whale system. Yeah, well, it's an anti-whale system against me because it's not that that would happen for everyone. It would only happen for me. But yeah, and if I can convince them, all of our founders as well. So what I really want to do is actually set basically a salary cap for all of our founding members, so that it's not that so that we can't make more money once the salary cap is hit, but it's that any money we make once the salary cap is hit is redistributed to our community. And preferably, I like to do that randomly. So it's just, you will just kind of, all of a sudden, someone might wake up and there's $100,000 in their account, and they're like, "What the fuck happened?" And it's like, well, and well, I prefer to do it somewhat semi-randomly, but also with like taking into account activity. So it's like, hey, you're a very active member of our community. The odds of you essentially getting gifted something would be higher. Let's see. Can you get an NFT crypto mining that you're welcome? I meant, could you check in this project, Alpha Mining Society, pay $3,000 profit a month to hold? Um, so I can check on it. If you want to send me a message so I can remember, I won't remember that. If you hop in the Telegram, you can send me a message, but I will look at it. I am weary of anything that guarantees a royalty payout. In fact, I'm weary of really anything that has a royalty payout. Um, so the rewards tokens were a great idea. The idea behind them was that if we continue to pay you, you'll hold, and so the incentive was to get people to hold. But people have really found ways to gamify that, and they've also recognized that it's not as beneficial as they might think. So we're actually utilizing an entirely different mechanism to try to actually create a stable floor. Because for us, it's about stability. It's not about tricking you into joining the project, which is what a lot of these rewards or rebates or other things are really trying to do. They're just trying to manipulate you enough that you want to purchase. So a lot of these things that are trying to figure out how to just continuously get the chart to rise, they're really just trying to get a good looking chart so that you want to buy the project so that they can sell out and take some of your value. Um, and that's just silly. Now, the funny thing is, our thing is really more about the floor. So they're paying attention to the top price. We're paying attention to the bottom price. So our thing is more about the floor and stability. Now, inadvertently, a byproduct of paying attention to the floor and stability might actually be that we create a token that has a really nice looking chart. But that's not our focus. That'll end up being a byproduct of our focus, because our focus is really more about safety for our community and making sure that we're not called Testudo for just for shits and giggles. The Testudo, in my mind, was all about strength and unity, not about strength in numbers. And so our whole thing is really about that strength and unity, bringing a community together and making sure that the community itself feels protected, and also feels protected from itself sometimes. Because a lot of times what you get in these environments is people just joining the community so they can be disruptive and they can take value out, and they can just kind of leave. And we've specifically structured it in such a way that we allow that behavior to happen, but the benefit from that behavior goes back to the people that remained in the community. How many founders do you have? I think it's six right now. Um, and I say think because that's a really hard. It's hard to really judge that. So there's six core members that are in our founding group, and then we have I think six additional contributing members. And then we have a potential partnership that we're just trying to work out the details on that I'm pretty much guaranteed. I think Jared, you're in the comments. You can kind of nod yes or no. From our perspective, I think it's done, and from his, it'll be there. And so I think that actually gives us access to an additional like 6 to 8 or something. So and we're expanding pretty much on a daily basis. So when I say, "Hi, Laughing Truth, man, how you doing?" Um, Seven, so that's great. So I think that what we really have is a continuously growing group, which is why it's hard for me to kind of pin down numbers. Because as people are coming in and asking to get involved, our whole goal is to find them a place to get involved. And so and we'll also be in a lot of cases we'll be using part of our holdings to actually do that as well. That's one of the reasons why we have in reserve a larger supply of the tokens, because the tokens are a representation of our past and future value. By essentially giving those to people that are contributing the project, it's essentially like paying your employees. But we're paying our employees in a way that I think is more equitable, which is we're paying our employees for both past and future value in the project. So yeah, I don't know if this was helpful for people. Um, but yeah, if anyone has any questions, I'll answer what I can. Otherwise, I think I'm gonna hop off because I've got a few calls to make. Nothing? All right. Well, thank you guys for joining. I think this was very helpful. Thank you. I'm a really big fan of what we've come up with, and I'm really excited to see what happens because this is I think this is gonna be really cool. Not a problem. All right, thanks, guys.